Hi guys, welcome back to another Nerd Rants video. This is gonna be another one of those controversial videos. I just watched the Daily Wire documentary called "What Is a Woman?" If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. So yeah. The main guy from Daily Wire goes out and he starts asking a bunch of different people, what is a woman? And trying to figure out what is the definition in this day and age where you can be whatever gender you want to be. You can identify however you want. So trying to figure out in this context, what is a woman? And going to all these scientists and these psychologists and just people out on the street and asking them how do you define a woman? And it's great. It's so just amazing to see. He's going around and like people they can't answer this question. They have no idea. And it's because we've just lost that. We've lost this instinctual knowledge of what a woman and what a man is, because we've blurred the lines to the point where we don't even know anymore. And so he's asking like sex change doctors and people who like take care of trans kids and just their health, and a gender studies professor and a couple psychologists. He talks to a trans man who regrets their decision, and it's just incredible to go through this and to see, and you see both sides of it, because he's very respectful in how he talks to them and just asking these questions like, I just want to know, what is this? Define this term. What does this mean? And is this an actual thing? And it really shows the dangers of transgenderism, because all this process that you have, like medical transitioning, like actually making your body look like the opposite gender, like the opposite sex, it's really risky and it's very experimental, and we have no idea what's going on, because this is the generation where transgenderism has started. Where it really has started, and people are actively going and finding surgeries and stuff to make themselves looks the way that matches how they feel, which is a whole nother can of worms we'll get into later. But we're first going to do an overview of this, and then we'll get into the whole feelings talk. But yeah, some of this, like all these people who are like, we're gonna help you become what you identify as, help you become a woman or whatever else, and they can't answer the question, what is a woman? They have no idea, and they'll do circular definitions where he's saying a woman is a woman, and that's it. He has no other definition. A bunch of them are saying, oh, it's relative. It depends on from person to person what a woman is, which, yeah, that's not actually true. Woman is not this subjective construct, this subjective concept and this social construct. It is an actual thing. Like, I am a woman because biologically I'm a woman. And that's how it works. Your biology is what determines your sex. It doesn't determine your temperament or your personality. That's an entirely different thing. And as we go through this, the descriptions of like them defining sex versus gender, and like sex is the biological thing, as gender is like how you feel and how you act, and like that's temperament, that's personality. And then one of the psychologists he talks to, he points that out. He's like, this gender's not the right word. This is about their temperament, about their personality, and that's why they feel like they need to be the opposite sex, which isn't true, because a lot of people decide to be trans because they don't fit into this box of stereotypes that we have for the two genders, for the two sexes. Like, guy doesn't fit into the box. He's more feminine. He doesn't fit into the box of what a stereotypical man is supposed to be. So maybe I'm not supposed to be a guy. And vice versa with the girl. Which, that's me. That box of I'm a masculine girl, I'm not super feminine. That's me, the tomboy. And I'm so glad that I grew up how I did, kind of sheltered from the internet and all of that, because honestly, if I had been able to access the internet, I would be one of those girls where they'd go, oh, you don't act like that, you do things that boys do, you're a tomboy, so maybe you are supposed to be a boy. I would have been one of those victims, because I have all brothers. I don't have the only female example that I had growing up was my mom, because all my cousins are young. All of my girl cousins and stuff are younger than me, and I was the oldest girl, and I was surrounded by guys. And so yeah, I was like 6 or 7. I went out on my brothers were out on the deck playing with toads in just basketball shorts, no shirt, and their shirts off. And so I saw that and went, oh, I want to play with the toads too. So I went inside, put on a pair of basketball shorts, took my shirt off, and I went out in there and sat with them. We have a picture of it. It's just me and my 2 older brothers sitting around an ice cream bucket full of water, rocks, and toads, and we're all sitting there in nothing but basketball shorts. And in this day and age, people would see that and go, oh, so you identify as a guy then? You did that when you were little, you must identify as a guy. And I'm like, mm-mm. And I would climb trees, and I would pick up snakes, and I would do all these things that a guy would do, because I grew up with brothers. And so that's how I grew up, was playing with them and doing the things that they did. And when I was really little, yeah, I did all the girly things because, oh, I'm the only girl, so we're gonna give her all the princess stuff and all that. But I really didn't do a whole lot of that. It wasn't my favorite activities. And yes, I did dress up my brother in dresses, my little brother in dresses, but even a guy who has access to dress up clothes would totally dress up their brother in a dress. Don't even lie to yourselves, you would. But yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of like the girly girl things when I was growing up. I reached like 6 or 7, and I was like, oh, I want to do what my brothers are doing. And for a while, like I'd play video games, all the things that they were doing, because that's what I wanted to be doing. It was whatever my brothers were doing, because I thought, oh, my older brothers, they're cool. So that's what I do. To be cool, I do what my brothers do. And so yeah, I was very much a tomboy, and if I had access to the internet at that point, if I didn't have a solid Christian family foundation to grow up in, that I probably would have been one of these kids that's being led to believe that I'm not supposed to be a girl. You're acting like a guy. You're totally supposed to be a guy. Which is horrible, because if that had happened to me, if I had gone through all that and believed that, and then decided, oh, so I'm a guy, so I need to go mutilate my body and change who I am to fit this feeling, then I would have missed out on a whole lot. There's so much about being a girl and that I love. And I'm not the most feminine girl. I'm not all touchy-feely, and I'm not super talkative, and I'm not all these stereotypes that we set up for what a girl is supposed to be. But I'm still a woman. I'm still very much a woman. I'm currently going through my monthly proof that I'm a woman. Yeah, and it's really scary and sad to see that kids nowadays who have access to the internet, which I don't agree so much with kids having so much access to the internet, because just the internet's kind of not a great place most of the time. And all of the saturation in the media and whatever else of this is what this is what how things are, and if you even sort of start to question your gender or your sexuality or whatever, then that must mean you're gay or you're trans or whatever, and that's terrifying. I'm so glad I grew up with movies that weren't full of that crap, because everything, you are very hard pressed nowadays to find anything that doesn't have that in it. Of course, 2023 has been doing pretty good with that. There's been a good 3, like, for some of my favorite. I've had 4 or 5 really good movies that I have watched this year, and they haven't really had any of that. And it's amazing, and they're my favorite movies in the last 10 years, pretty much. They're incredible. And part of that is they're ignoring all this representation that they're being pressured to put in there, or they decided they need to put in there, and they're just making a good solid story and good solid characters and just focusing on the quality of the movie rather than, oh, we have to put representation of this in there, which they really don't. They, like, the LGBTQ whatever, they get enough attention without the media joining in and all that. And it's seeing movies without that, it's very encouraging to me, and I love it. I love that we're getting some really good movies without any of that in it. But yeah, the media is just becoming a weapon that Satan is using to warp the minds of young people into thinking all these crazy things, all these unnatural things. And it's really sad, and it's kind of scary, especially because it's to a point where it feels hopeless that we'll ever be able to stop it. But it starts with people like at the Daily Wire speaking out against it, and just using logic and reasoning and asking people questions and getting to the bottom of stuff, trying to figure out the truth and the reality of things, because we're like, what is truth in this day and age? Matt goes up to a person on the street and goes, "What's a woman? If I told you I was a woman, would that be true?" And this lady goes, "Yeah, that's your truth. So yeah, it'd be true for you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be true for me." Which, in that case, then it's just not true in general. If it's true for one person but not another, then it's really not truth. And then he plays the logic game and goes farther with it and goes and says, "Okay, so if my truth is you don't exist, do you not exist?" And she just plays along with it and goes, "Yeah, I guess not." And just seeing that interaction and going, oh, holy crap, what is this day and age that we're in? Where you can go up to someone and say, "My truth is you don't exist," and they'll just agree with you. Say, "Oh, okay, so I don't exist to you. Whatever." And when it's clearly like, that can't be the truth, so why would you agree with that? The age of subjective truth is absolutely horrifying, because you can say whatever you want, just say, "Oh, but that's my truth, it's true for me, but maybe not for you." So you're just destroying truth, because you can just claim whatever you want as the truth, but there really is only one truth and only one reality, and we're just ignoring it. I have lots of thoughts on this. I would also like to point out on the subject of truth, where he's talking to a gender studies professor, and he's talking to him. He's like, I want to get to the truth. What is a woman? And he keeps using the word truth because, yeah, we need to get to the truth. We need to get to the reality. And this professor goes, you're invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. We have gotten to the point in our world where the truth, the singular truth, the singular reality of the world is now considered condescending and rude because it doesn't agree with what everyone else thinks and what everyone else wants to believe and be, because our minds are so warped by do what you feel and do what you want, that we're ignoring the truth and the reality of the world, and then anyone else who wants to see that and wants to know that truth and that reality is now considered rude or homophobic or transphobic or whatever, because they're looking for the truth, they're accepting the truth, not necessarily your truth. Because your truth isn't actually truth, it's just your feelings and your expression. It's not actually true. Hate to break it to all you people, it's not true. And it's really, really hard to fight the idea of my truth versus your truth, because you're just gonna deny everything that I say. It's like, oh, that's just your truth, that's not mine. The thing is, you can't actually argue effectively against the truth because it has evidence and proof and backing and all of this stuff backing it, and your truth just has your words. So eventually your truth will crumble and the truth will still be standing stronger than ever. So I just keep praying that people will start to see the unchanging truth and the unchanging reality of the world over whatever the heck you say the reality is. Yeah, it's not good. We're not in a good place as a world and as a society, and it's just us. It's just America. It's just America. Matt goes to a country in Africa and stays with the tribe, and he starts asking things about transgenderism and men becoming women, and they just laugh at him and go, what does this even mean? We have no idea what you're talking about, because it's just an America thing. We've taken this freedom that we have and we've twisted it and warped it until now what we think is this freedom that we have, we're turning it into something that we're entirely a slave to. And we're taking these rights that we have and we're twisting them, and now we don't actually have the right to freedom of speech, because if we say something wrong about someone else, they're gonna persecute us for it. So I can't actually say whatever I want and whatever I believe. And I don't really have the freedom of religion, because if I start to express my religion in a way that you don't like, you're going to persecute me for it, and you're going to bash me for it, and you're going to say, oh no, you're transphobic, you're homophobic because you're a Christian, and I'm not allowed to express that. And it's just, seriously? We've gone so far off the deep end with all this that we don't even... we're not even making sense anymore. We've got circular reasoning going on. We have people unable to answer a simple question of what's a woman. or creating terms, unnecessary terms that we can't even define in a concrete way to manipulate people into thinking that, oh, I'm trans. And we're taking this beautiful spectrum of the different sexes, because it's a spectrum. Women go from super feminine, can range from super feminine to more masculine, and guys can range from super masculine to more feminine. And we're taking this beautiful spectrum of people, and we're saying, oh, you are more on the feminine side as a man, then you should be a girl, and you're more on the masculine side as a girl, you should be a guy. And we're basically saying stereotypes are the reality of what a sex is, and so therefore you need to change your body and mutilate your body to match the stereotypes and to match what the world says a woman acts like, or what it says, or the world says a man acts like. And that's truth, that's reality, and it's not. Gosh, coming off of camp and talking about watching this documentary, I'm all fired up about this topic. And I'm probably gonna make a whole lot of people mad. But honestly, I don't care. If you're getting offended, if you're offended by my views and my beliefs, whatever. I have the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to believe the same way that I do. But I want the ability to do the same thing that you do. To express who I am as a person and what I believe without being blasted for it and called transphobic just because I don't see things the same way you do. What's the problem with that? Nobody agrees on everything. That just doesn't happen because we're all different and we're all unique. And blasting someone for that, calling them transphobic for what they think, what they believe, it's the same if I was actually transphobic, if I actually was hating on you and threatening you. It's like the same thing, but we're held to different standards. Like, you can blast me and threaten me and do all these things to me without any consequences, but if I do, even if I say something that you just don't like or don't agree with, then all of a sudden my life's over. You find a way to ruin my life, and I don't understand that. This double standard that we have in the world, because, yeah, if anything, that just goes to show that Christianity is true, because everyone and everything in this world is fighting so hard to silence us. Satan hates the truth. It would make sense that he would be fighting so hard for it not to get out. Sure. Keep pushing against us, keep persecuting us, keep blasting us Christians that are speaking out against what you're doing and what these sins that you're committing. Because to me, that just proves that we're telling you that we're speaking the truth. And that Satan is fighting like hell to stop us. Give my pun. On the note of Satan and religion and all that stuff, I'm probably going to go on a rant now about how transgenderism is horrible and the ways I've seen all of these different things in the Bible that say so. I think it's in one of the Psalms. It literally says, God knit you together in your mother's womb. There's another verse that says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There's verses talking about in Genesis, he creates man, and he says it's very good. He creates, and all of these things we have over and over again saying what he creates is good, what he has done is, his workmanship is good, his plans are good, we are his workmanship, we are his masterpiece, we are wonderfully made. We have all of these verses saying that God created you for a reason, and he did not make a mistake. He made you exactly as you were meant to be, to fulfill the purpose that he has for you. And when you say, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to be a girl, or I don't feel like I'm supposed to be a guy, and then you actively go and say, I'm not. My sex is wrong, and then you go and you actively change it, that is straight up a slap to God's face. You are looking at your body that he created, that he made, and then you're looking at him and saying, no, you made a mistake. I'm wrong. I'm gonna fix it. You're slapping him in the face and saying, no, I'm gonna be my own God. And then you mutilate your body. You pump it full of drugs, and you surgically change your body, which they talk about a lot in the documentary, how risky and dangerous that is. And you do all this, and you just decimate this body that he gave you, that he created, that is supposed to be a temple for him and for his spirit, so that he can be with you and live inside you. And you're taking that and you're destroying it. You're destroying it. He made you for a specific purpose. Your sex is a part of that purpose. A feminine guy, you're made so that you can be more vulnerable with other guys, and you can help them be more vulnerable, because you have problems like everybody else, and it's harder, and I know, and it's just harder for you to talk about it. So having a more feminine guy who's able to talk about it and able to help other people talk about it, that's amazing. And if we take that feminine guy and we go, oh, no, you're supposed to be a woman, and he changes that, and he destroys his body, and he becomes a woman, he can no longer have any influence over other guys to help them deal with things and to help them be more vulnerable, because he's not a guy anymore. And girls who are more masculine, like me, I don't know what I'm supposed to, I'm here. I'm not as emotional as other girls. I know that. I'm not as emotional, I'm not as vulnerable, which means I don't break down a lot of times. Something will happen, and other girls, that would make other girls cry and break down. That's not me. It takes a whole lot to make me break. Which means I am there to be a shoulder to cry on for other girls. Because honestly, girls, we're a lot more open with each other. Because talking to guys is weird and awkward, because they are different from us. Doesn't matter how feminine a guy is, he's still different than a girl when it comes to all that. And so it's easier to talk to each other. And so when you talk to another girl and you're breaking down and you just need someone to be strong and to be there for you, and you don't have that because the other girl is also breaking down, and it's what I feel like I'm there for. I'm the more masculine girl. I'm the one that can hold myself together in a situation, and I can be that strong person and that shoulder to cry on for another girl, because that's what they need sometimes. That's what we all need sometimes. There's a reason for every variation of personality, every variation of temperament. And just because you're a guy who's more vulnerable, who's more in touch with his emotions, who's different and more feminine, that doesn't mean you're not a guy. That just means that you have a very unique purpose and a very unique way that you can help other guys, or that you can see the world. And because of that view of the world, that personality, that temperament, God can use you in a very specific way that only you can be used to make a difference that only you can make. But you can't do that if you decide, this isn't right, I need to change. I'm still figuring out this purpose that God made for me. I'm still learning how to ride that bike, waiting for him to grab it off the wall and just let me ride. But I know that he's going to use me in a very special way, that only I can be used. And it'll be because I'm a girl, not in spite of it. God doesn't make mistakes. He has made you intentionally in a very particular way so that you could do something incredible that only you can do. Don't take that amazing plan away. Don't rob the world of that amazing plan, of that amazing purpose. Because God made that plan. It's perfect. And it's exactly where your life needs to go. And chances are, it's probably going to fill that hole that you feel inside you, that you think you need to fill by changing. The world is scrambling, looking for identity, looking for purpose, and God has it for you. He has had it, and he's known what it is and how you were going to do it from before you were even made. So we're all scrambling so hard for something that it's there. You just have to accept it. You just have to accept him. And he will fill that hole and lead you to on an amazing journey that's gonna be it's gonna lead you exactly where you always wanted, or you never knew you wanted to go sometimes. Dude, he's done amazing things in me. I counseled at a camp this last week. That is something I never in a million years thought that I would do. I'm the shy introvert girl who doesn't like to talk to people, who cannot for the life of me start conversations. And I was in charge of 7 middle school girls for an entire week. And I have to tell you that I kind of loved it. And it was amazing. And this thing that I never thought I would ever do just clicked with me. And I enjoyed it. And I honestly really want to do it again. So, don't question how God made you, because trust me, it's exactly it's exactly the way you're meant to be. and it's perfect for whatever he has planned for you. Yeah, this it took a turn that I kind of expected, but also wasn't really planning on taking. It became less about the documentary and just more a rant about identity and God and all that fun stuff, which I very much expected it to do. I figured it probably would, but yeah. And it's another video here that might just get me kicked off of YouTube. But that happens, it's just gonna convince me more that it's Satan trying to stifle the truth, because you don't fight so hard to silence something that you know isn't true, or that you don't have some sinking suspicion is true. You always talk about how the disciples died for the truth, for the gospel, for the news that Jesus rose from the dead. And we say no one would die for a lie. And I will add to that. No one starts wars or commits massacres to stop a lie from spreading. Because lies crumble, no matter how well woven they are, no matter how intricately planned out the story is, lies will always unravel. Because all it takes is snipping one string and the whole thing falls apart. But the truth holds no matter what happens, no matter what you do, because it's true. So you don't really have to fight against a lie, because it's gonna fall apart sooner or later. But the truth, trying to spread a lie, the truth is the thing you're gonna have to fight. And fight hard. Yeah. Anyway, those are my many thoughts about things. Again, like I said in a previous video, I'm not going to apologize for offending anyone. This is what I believe. This is how I feel. I'm sorry if you feel offended, but feelings lie. Well, that's probably not the right context to use this in. I'm sorry if you feel offended, but I believe I'm speaking the truth, and I'm not going to stop just because a few people don't like what I'm saying. Because eventually, those people and their lies, they're going to fall apart. And the truth, that's going to be left standing. Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.